Hey everybody, and welcome back to Embrilliance. In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to take a really cute free embroidery design that you can find in the OML Embroidery University Facebook group and do a little bit of editing on it. We're not going to be resizing, but we are going to make it into a mug rug. My name is Sue and I am from OML Embroidery, and let's get started. I have my hoop set up in Embrilliance, and what it is, you go to edit preferences and pick your hoop. It's really easy. You can do any size that you want. We will not be resizing the stitch file though, just so you know. We're just going to keep it at what it is. We're just going to edit it a little bit. So I want to go to open, and I want to make sure I pick the right file, and I want to make sure this is a PES because I have so much embroidery software on my computer. And let's bring it in. That is the free design. Isn't that cute? It stitches out beautifully. Here's a mug rug that I made, and here's a stitching that I did. I'll bring up those pictures in editing. So for this mug rug, I don't want the outside on it. Now, if you select it, you select everything because Embrilliance sees it all together. What I want to do is just select that part, and then I want to go delete. And then I'm going to close this up because we don't really need to see all that. You can group it. That's even better if you group it and then nothing will touch it. First of all, though, let's center it in the hoop. It came in almost centered, so that's absolutely fine. So our free A, so again, you can find this in the OML Embroidery University Facebook group. And of course, we will be giving away the whole alphabet. So now that we have this done, this is just beautiful to stitch out. If you didn't like the motif run that I put around it, and I asked Dawn to put it at the end just to make it so much easier for you guys to delete it if you wanted to make any changes. So again, we're not going to resize this. We are simply going to add to it, and we are going to make a cool mug rug. They look fantastic. So let's pick our shape. I was wondering, I've done a square with curved edges, and I've done a circle. So I was looking through and I really liked the pentagon, but it didn't leave a whole lot of room for embellishment. So we can try an oval, but I think actually a circle is going to look best. You can always play around with it. So I just clicked on that, and we want it to fit inside the hoop for sure. We don't want it to be too big or too small. We can make this a little bit bigger. It would all really depend on if you're going to add some lettering, if you're going to add a name at the bottom. My goodness, that would be so cute if you did that. So I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to use fancy fabric on this. So we want the fabric to show off. We don't want it too close to the edge of the hoop. We want to make sure we can read it. So the first thing we need to do is to change this to a stitch, because right now it is just a shape and it's not going to stitch out. So we're going to open our create, and we're going to click on stitch, and I have it on back stitch. It remembers the last thing I did. We just need it on single though, because that is our placement stitch. Now you can see here it says run, and what we want to do is to move that first. So a couple clicks, we are done. So that is our first one, and that's our placement line. So we're going to take our 5x7 hoop. We're going to hoop it with tearaway stabilizer, and this will be the first thing to stitch out. So we are going to then place our batting and then our fabric over top. So we need this circle to stitch again, so it will keep everything down. It will hold everything down so we can do our stitching. So what we want to do is we want to copy it, and of course there's shortcuts, but we want to copy it and paste. Well, that didn't work. That was my last one that I was playing around with. Let's do copy, Control C, and let's do paste. And I did it right that time. The only thing we really need to do here is change the color, because we want it to stop. We want to make sure the machine is going to stop. So we have it stitch out, and then we put our fabric and our batting down, and it's going to stitch it down. Now, I would like this one to be a back stitch because I would like it to hold down. I want it to have a really good stitch to make sure everything stays down. Now, we can do some, you can leave it just like this and we'll do the finishing piece on it if you want to keep it simple and just do it really quick, or we can add a little bit of embellishment to it. So why don't we paste our circle again, because we've done that already. Let's do it a little bit smaller. I haven't quite decided. Grab the green square there. See, now that looks pretty good. I don't mind that at all. That looks pretty good. I'm going to change the color of it, and I'm going to choose, depending on, I guess it all depends on what fabric you're doing, but you know what? I use Floriani thread, and this orange looks really nice. So I'm going to change it to that. Now, I want to change the stitch on this. So I'm not really sure what I want to do. A bean stitch would look really nice. I think it would look good. You can, it's a 3-pass. We could maybe even do a more of a pass. You can change it to maybe a motif run, and we'll go to add, and we'll just, let's just pick the first one, a decorative one. Ooh, that's very nice. You can remove that if you don't like it, go to add, and let's pick, maybe we could pick a bigger one. So a larger one, something like this one. Let's try that. That is exactly what I was looking for. And you see how this totally changes the design. I think that's really nice. And so you can go by, you can even do more than one motif. You don't have to stick to one. You can play and experiment. So that one's kind of fancy. Maybe we can pick more of a smaller one. See, now that looks amazing too. That looks really good. So you can mix and match as many as you want, and that looks amazing. I'm so happy with the way this is turning out. So the next thing we have to do is we have to finish this off. So what we have to do is, once this is all finished stitching out, let's check our order. So we have, the first is a run stitch, and that's going to stitch right down on our tearaway backing, and then we're going to place down our batting and our gorgeous fabric that we've selected, and that is going to stitch it down so everything holds together and we won't have any movement here when we're stitching this out. The next thing we're going to do is stitch out this gorgeous motif run made with 2 motifs to make it look good. I just really like it. And then it's going to stitch out our free design, and now all we have to do is finish it. So there's a couple of ways to finish a mug rug. Now you can do the circle and split it, and then when you and put it over top and stitch it, and then you have to turn it and then finish stitching it. But I'm kind of lazy and I don't really feel like doing any stitching on my sewing machine. Sorry, McDreamy, you're just embroidery mostly. So take 2 pieces of fabric, the right size, depending on what size you're doing. You can do a 6x6 hoop, or you can do an 8x8 hoop, depending on how big you want it. Again, don't resize this, work around it. And fold it in half and overlap the fold. So you want the piece of fabric to go over the edge and over this edge to be just a little bit bigger. And I would overlap from, say, here to here. So you have this much to overlap. It just helps it stay nice and flat. So 2 pieces of fabric, cut to the right size, make it 1 inch bigger this way and 1 inch bigger this way, or 2 inches, actually more than that, about 3 inches, so you can overlap the whole thing. So once we've got that down, the last thing we want to do is stitch this down so it's going to hold everything together when we turn it and have nice edges. So what we're going to do, believe it or not, is just paste one more time. Now I am going to move this guy to move last because we want it to stitch out after everything else. And there we go. I just dragged it over. And we want this one to either go twice or do a nice back stitch. You could even do a double or a bean stitch, but back stitch should hold it quite nicely. The last thing we need to do for this is we need to make it a little bit smaller. So when you are stitching this out, the last one, if you don't make it a little bit smaller, then when you turn it, the stitches are going to show the other stitches. So we just want it to sit in the inside, not a whole lot. You don't want it to be tons. Now I made a little mistake there. Wait, let me do it. I made a little mistake there and I redid the circle and I didn't mean to. If you do that and you're worried about it, just delete it and paste again, because why not? And then all we have to do is move it. Let's move it and let's change it to a back stitch. And now we're going to make it just a little bit smaller. Use the green in the middle to move it. And just a little bit smaller. You can change your ghosting if you can't quite see it. That to me looks perfect. So just a little bit inside, so when you turn it, you don't see these stitches. Now, how cute is that? How cute is that? So that is something you guys can play around with, different shapes, different designs. You can add, there's enough room to put a name here. You could curve it around. You could put it this way. For some reason, I think that would look fantastic. So anything that starts with an A, we will be giving everybody the rest of the alphabet, but have fun stitching this out, or you can play around with just the A just to get used to it and then wait for your letter. It'll be happening. So thanks everyone for watching. I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video to let me know that you want more Embrilliance videos just like this. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!